Okay, welcome back. A little bit more we wanted to talk about because we're going to talk about this weekend. There's at the end of the night, you have your OW, you have your team champion, you have your tournament champion.
And then we talk about the people that make it happen.
We're going to talk about who we think are the Coach of the Year candidates in the Henlopen Conference. And a lot of times, Jermaine, Coach of the Year in the Henlopen Conference, it depends. It's voted on by the coaches, so it's the personality of the coaches. And one thing this year is we had no drama in the Henlopen Conference. I mean, they wrestled the matches. Smyrna established themselves. Milford established themselves in the South. So we had no real drama this year. And a lot of years we have drama in the Henlopen Conference, but there's really none this year that I can think of. So a lot of times when I see the Coach of the Year, sometimes you see a dominant coach, the guy that's winning. Sometimes you see the new coach that's come on the scene. More times than not, you see a guy that's struggled or has been hanging around that 500 and they finally break through.
Right.
They don't win it. They don't win the conference, but they've turned things around. They've showed a lot of improvement, and some of those guys have taken home the hardware. And we're going to group some guys, and let's talk about first about the coaches I think that are on top, and they kind of stay on top. And so when you talk about being on top, right now in 2014, the name Kurt Howe from Smyrna has to come up.
Oh, he's the man. He's on top, and it looks like he's going to remain up there for a while. And
yeah, he's not going anywhere. And he's 2 state titles in a row here, 2 conference. Well, he's got 2 Northern Division titles, Henlopen Conference champs last year. Odds-on favorite for them to win the tournament this year. I mean, they are stacked and loaded and ready to run into Friday and Saturday. But a lot of times,
doesn't
the
go
other
that
coaches think, okay, not this year.
Kurt's,
And I believe he was coach of the year last year.
Yeah,
so
Kurt has all the talent.
But another guy that's been around the top, Polytech's Eric Buxton.
Buxton comes from Division II, makes a mark in Division I. Big wins over Sussex Central, Sussex Tech.
First time ever over Sussex Central for the school. And it's coming from Division II and being the smallest school now in Division, or at least in the Northern Division. And you knock off the Dover, you knock off Tech, you knock off Sussex Central. Okay, he sits 4th in the Henlopen North, and he's maybe 5 students from actually being down in the South.
Division II.
So that's pretty impressive. And they're not an old team; they're young.
They're young.
They're a young team, and so Eric Buxton has taken what he's got. It's his 2nd year as a coach. So there's another name you have to say, okay, this guy's a candidate for Coach of the Year. And then you talk about the guys that have made a turnaround, slight turnaround, a big turnaround, whatever. And one name comes to mind is Mike Hansen from Lake Forest. Fairly new coach, 2-3 years, but it's been a long time since Lake Forest Spartans walked into the state duels. And they didn't only walk into state duels this year. They avenged the loss to DMA. And DMA beat them pretty solid during the year. And Lake Forest came out Tuesday night and handed it to DMA. You could even, what's the question? They lose to Milford in the semis. Are they better than St. George's? Who knows? Because Milford laid it on St. George's too.
Absolutely.
So Mike Hansen, there's a guy that he's made the turn, and Lake Forest is not an old team. They've got some youngsters in there, and
got some young blood, and like you said, let's take a look at the coach's personality.
Right.
What they bring to the table, and look at the future of Lake Forest.
And this is also a guy that's not in the school. He's not a teacher. He works outside of school, and he's still able to pull this all together. And when you talk about turnarounds, you have to talk about Chris Mattioni at Cape Henlopen.
Man, Cape. They get a win over Cesar Rodney. That was a long time coming, but it happens this year.
Right. And Sussex Central in the same season.
Sussex Central in the same season, so you can't close your eyes to that.
Right. So Chris Mattioni turns around. They have 1 loss heading into the state duels. Dickie Howe found a way to return the favor and make the finals, but this is not a season you can blink at. Cape Henlopen.
Speaking of Dickie Howe, I see something here.
Not this year.
Okay.
And look, I'm biased. I'm a Dickie Howe fan. My kid went through his program. Great guy and a great coach, but sorry, Dickie, not this year.
Not this year, Dick.
It's just it wasn't CR's year.
He really can't make the cut here because we left one coach out.
I'm not done.
But
I'm gonna talk about a guy that's just in a total different category. And if I had a vote, which I don't, this would be my vote for Coach of the Year.
What is it?
Well, you talk about a guy that has been there. He's been building. He's a fairly new coach, 4-year coach. He's been building the program. He's worked hard. We've seen the summer work they put in. and he's a state championship coach, and that's Dan Rigby. Maybe, we don't know yet, maybe the youngest coach to ever win a state title in Delaware. But Dan Rigby got his chance. Milford gets switched to the south. You know, big break getting out of that Henlopen North. And now he beat some teams in the Henlopen North this year. He beat Polytech. He beat Sussex Tech.
Yes, he did.
So, you know, I beat Dover. So he goes down to the south. He runs the table in the south. Henlopen South champs. Then they get up to the duels, and all year long we heard St. George's. And I think we talked about it about late January. What about the Milford Bucks? Good coaching staff, and I'm Dan Rigby be the first to tell you, it's not just him. It's his staff, it's his community, it's his school. We've had this talk, but if I had to vote, you know, we've talked about 5 really good guys. We talked about 6 really good guys because Dickie Howe always has to be in the conversation when you talk Coach of the Year. And another name just got his 400th win, Phil Schulteis. So, you know, there's a guy that they didn't have much coming back, and he was able to get them up.
Every year he does.
Got to his 400th win. Did very well at the Canal Classic towards the end of the season. But if I had my vote, it'd go to Dan Rigby from Milford.
My vote, Dan Rigby from Milford. So that's 2 votes, guys.
Right.
I don't know if they count, but
we'll see what the coaches, they voted. Somebody knows who the winner is. They've had their meeting. We got their seeds. They did that vote tonight. So, you know, a lot of great coaches here in the Henlopen Conference.
Absolutely.
A lot of great wrestling in the Henlopen Conference. And, you know, looking at the seeds, Milford can make some noise this weekend because they got some guys in some really good positions this weekend.
Well, taking into consideration with Dan Rigby not only winning the state title, but look, as you said, he laid the groundwork for 4 years patiently, and he executed this year. This was his year to execute, and I tell you what, they look like they're going to be around for a few more years.
Oh yeah, they got some good young kids, and a lot of their upperweights are young, and they have a couple middle school kids, 2 or 3 middle school kids that are going to come right in, make an impact, and you know, Lake Forest and Milford are going to be battling again next year, and you know, both are getting some good young quality kids coming in. But if I had to vote once again, Dan Rigby be my coach of the year.
I stick behind you, Benny, and I want to say this, something that we don't pay a lot of attention to, but I do. I credit this a lot, and that's building the community and your fan base, and using all of the platforms that we have in front of us today. You know, Twitter, you know, Facebook, you know, interacting with these kids. And Dan Rigby is doing it all. He's firing off of all cylinders. And Milford they're behind him.
Police escort Tuesday night, bringing those kids back into town. I mean, that's just small town.
Yeah.
You know, that's just small town stuff, and it's great. You know, great for the kids, great for the community. And Milford's been waiting for a state title for 5 years now. And this is number 5 for them. Parsley got 2, and Roy Rigby got 2, and now Dan puts one on there, and we're going to be at Milford this weekend. So that's kind of why we're beefing up Milford. Is I'd like, first of all, thank Jerry Mears for having Nside be involved with this tournament.
Absolutely, and you know, we're excited to be there.
Oh, yeah.
And then following that week, we got another big week,
State tournament.
So it gets busy.
Certainly does. But we're going to bring in the action. You know, just check us out, Nside Wrestling, the Henlopen Conference Tournament, 2014 edition. I believe this is number 45, the 45th Henlopen Conference Tournament. So hope to see you there. We'll have some interviews for you. It's always some live action, and this may be, I've been around the Henlopen Conference Tournament since 1979, and this looks like one of the more exciting Friday nights in a long, long time. So stay with us, folks. Nside Wrestling, Henlopen Conference, Delaware Wrestling, and we're going to bring it all to you.